probably best described as an international multidisciplinary brand and strategy consultancy, which sounds like a bit of a mouthful. In essence, I mean, our role in life is to generate business success by design. Okay, we start by helping our clients develop strategies for the future primarily. Some of our work is obviously about short-term delivery, but primarily it's about helping make our clients more commercially successful through the use of design.
Right. Okay, let's then deal with the questions one at a time. There's a break in between, so if there's anything that we need to talk about, then we can do that. What is your business mission?
By that, do you mean for our own company, or do you mean for our client? For our own company.
Yeah.
Well, our business mission is to become the largest and most dominant design brand worldwide, which might sound quite ambitious, but given the fact that no one consultancy globally has any more than 1% market share, it is obviously an industry that is ripe for consolidation, and that is something that we intend to pursue through acquisition, through organic growth, and through joint ventures with appropriate partners.
Right. And your core products, they are?
I guess we talk in terms of offers rather than products, but it's very, very broad. It starts with the basically our research and our strategy offer, which is aimed at identifying new business opportunities for our clients, or aimed at validating their definition of new business opportunities. And from that it works through, we can be doing anything from master planning Terminal 5 at Heathrow Airport through to developing a new form of packaging for a major cosmetics manufacturer, through to developing online shopping for people like Microsoft, through to the other end of the spectrum, the product design of forklift trucks. So it's very, very broad. I mean, what I'm describing there are the tangible manifestations of what we do, but clearly the whole process that goes around every single piece of work that we do is driven by understanding the consumer. And by understanding the consumer and fulfilling their latent wants and needs, we can help our clients be successful.
Right. The model has answered the next one, but anyway, what is your marketing strategy?
Well, maybe my interpretation of that is slightly different, but our marketing strategy for our business is based upon positioning ourselves and developing bodies of expertise in the areas that we believe we can be most successful in. So we commission bespoke research programs. We have a marketing strategy which is based upon raising a strong profile for our business through public relations, through speaking at conferences, through press relations, and obviously we then have networking arrangements with other businesses that act as a source of business as part of our marketing strategy. And we also pursue quite a focused direct marketing campaign, identifying market sectors which are going through a period of change, identifying the players within that we believe will be most challenged by that, and trying to initiate one-to-one dialogues with those potential clients.
Right. Talking about your clients, are there special specifications or requirements that your consumers must meet?
Yes, they have to want to pay us. They have to be solvent. No, I mean, the way, I guess, people come to us for a number of reasons. I mean, the primary reason is that in some way they need to increase the profitability or the performance of their company. Or for companies perhaps which are looking at the longer term, they want something which will challenge them, which will help them create a sense of innovation within their organisation. I guess we always say that we like to work with the people who are number 2 or number 3 in an industry because they've got something to prove. They want to win, they have to change, they're being forced to change. So people who are number 2 or number 3 are potentially more likely to be a client for us rather than people who are number 1. If you're number 1, you're guarding your position. If you're number 2, you're on the attack to become number 1. So that's one type of organisation that we find ourselves working with quite a lot. The other sort of organisation is an organisation which is actually severely in trouble, where they require what we call brand revitalisation. A company that was successful once perhaps became a little bit arrogant, didn't monitor the competition, and they suddenly find that they're in a marketplace and they're in trouble. So that's another type of company where we can obviously be of a lot of use. And there's a third issue about our clients, which is a much softer issue, and it's what I would describe as a cultural issue. But we find that we work most successfully with clients where there is a desire for change, companies who are willing to look at doing things in a different way. And that's a very, very soft issue, and we joke in our business that if we could find a database of companies that you could monitor them based upon their propensity for change and their culture for change, then those are the people we would go after. But that's, I think, quite a strong determinant in the types of companies that we find ourselves working with.
Has size anything to do with?
Yes, I mean, I think it is fair to say that the majority, not all, but the majority of our clients, they tend to be pretty much blue chip multinational clients rather than very, very small. It's just the nature of our business. But we do equally do work with startups, and we enjoy doing work with startups. You know, we have probably 100 ideas brought to us every year, and usually we will maybe perhaps pursue 2 of those, because they again have quite a different approach to traditional corporate organisations. Would
there be clients that you would not like really, or less?
Yes, I think we find it very difficult, obviously, to say no to clients, because we would like to believe that we're very, very flexible, that we can find ways and different ways of working with different clients. But I think there are occasions when you realise that actually you don't believe that a client is going to be able to change in any way. I have to say that might be, sort of once every 2 years that happens, but it does happen sometimes. You have to be clear about whether or not you can add value.
Right. And then the strange one here: what are the most vital marketing parameters of a consulting company whose product is finding solutions for other companies?
I guess, we would say three or four things, and I'm not sure if this is the correct answer to this question. But the most important thing for us is to absolutely fundamentally understand what's happening in consumers' lives. That's one of the great passions that drives this business, and is one of the great contributors to our success. Our job is to stay 6 months to a year ahead of our clients in understanding what's happening in the marketplace, and not just understanding factually what's happening, but understanding the implications of the things that are happening, identifying what we call the green shoots of change. The thing that has just happened in Tokyo that we realise is going to become mainstream in Germany in 6 months' time and is going to change a particular sector. I think that's one very fundamentally important thing. Therefore, access to information and knowledge management is very important for our business. And obviously, as a consulting organisation, the people we recruit are completely fundamental to our success and our ability to help our clients. So finding, recruiting, retaining, training the best people in the world. So I think those would certainly be 2 of the very, very strong issues for us.
And how do you develop new products?
Ooh. Well, it's a constantly changing process. New products come about in 2 ways. We find that the majority of new offers that we develop come about through convergence in markets. So, for example, the convergence of entertainment and retail, the blurring of the boundaries between those 2 areas, has led us to develop a very strong entertainment retail offer. The blurring of boundaries between our traditional retail expertise, which lies in helping to build stores and shopping centres, and online retailing, has allowed us to develop a unique digital retail offer. So there are those areas of convergence which happen because market sectors themselves are converging, or because we have two sets of skills that meet to create a new offer that in some ways creates a new market for itself.
And how would you characterize competition in your field?
Very varied, I think, is the short answer. It's one of the greatest difficulties in this industry, characterising competition, because our competition is anything from Anderson Consulting or McKinsey Consulting through to a shop fitter who tells a retailer that he can do design. It is literally that broad. And I guess the area of the competition that we aspire to beat and to match is the McKinsey and the Anderson end of the spectrum.
How do you differentiate in this market compared to your competitors?
Again, it depends on your definition of competitors, but taking it as the broad traditional design industry for a moment, we would say that we differentiate because of the ways in which we basically capture, track and interpret information, turning it from data into knowledge, if you like. And we think that's one thing that FITCH is very well recognised for. We, as I mentioned earlier, we carry out our own research programmes to understand what is happening in specific arenas of customer change. And again, that gives us an edge in terms of being able to own certain areas of expertise. I think that's one thing. I think again, it goes back to the people we recruit. You know, we encompass a multitude of people with very different attitudes in this business and actively set out to do so. But I think most people at FITCH are typified by, an absolute natural curiosity, great enthusiasm and a constant desire for change. And so again, I think it's to do with hard issues of, the way in which we set out to position ourselves. And then I guess the softer issues about people and how we create a structure that allows us to do absolutely fantastically great creative work.
I've been reading through some of the things that Aurelia sent us, and it's very interesting the cases where you actually go into developing the product before it's actually been released or ready for manufacturing.
Yes.
So you have put an oar into the design already at the creation of a device. And would it be possible for you in brief to describe one of those cases?
Okay. What sort of cases?
Any case. It could be any case like a computer, whatever that's where you get contacted by a client.
Right. Okay. Well, I'll give you the example of iMega, the iMega zip drive, which has been been known for revolutionising the data storage industry. iMega was a US company, but its base primarily had been in the supply of computer storage systems for military use, in the US. They recognised that with reduced military budgets, with demilitarisation globally and all those things that were happening, that clearly they were going to have a diminishing market. Plus the fact that their brand was having problems even within that marketplace. So they approached us to help them. Initially, in fact, it was about simply doing some packaging of this thing that they had done, which was called the zip drive. And the zip drive was for use in personal computers, not in the military market, but in the personal computing market. And when they came to us, we asked to undertake a research and a strategy program for them, not just to go straight into doing a piece of packaging, which is what a lot of businesses would do. And what we did was we actually sat with people in their homes. We identified how people thought about the information they were storing from their computer, how people talked about it. We looked at the ways in which people use their computers, the ways in which they use the existing product. And from that, we actually identified that there was an opportunity to completely redevelop the brand, to completely reposition the brand. So instead of talking about data storage in terms of megabytes and gigabytes and all that sort of very technical jargon, if you like, people were talking about, I just want someplace to keep my stuff, which is where the brand positioning for iOmega came about. It's my stuff, it's your stuff. So there was a brand positioning which was about taking, and particularly bearing in mind that more and more people who weren't computer literate, didn't understand everything about computers, but simply wanted to use them. There was an opportunity to actually create a language of communication and a brand position which spoke to people in a very plain English or plain American, if you like, sort of way. So we identified this opportunity in the market, and that was part of the starting point. And from that was an ethos that drove everything in terms of how we redesigned the product, how we developed the product, how we created the packaging for it, how we created the merchandising, how we created the brand communications. So there was a completely holistic approach to repositioning and redeveloping the brand, but it was driven fundamentally by listening to consumers, by interrogating them, by carrying out unique methods of research that we use to really get under their skin and understand what will be relevant to them. And it's been a phenomenal success in the marketplace. It's completely redefined consumers' understanding of data storage, and continues to thrive. If that gives you some sort of idea.
I guess that was a really great case to
to
illustrate the way that you work, and
that is perhaps because iMake is known globally, but that is very, very typical of how we would work on any project. We've done work with Compact again, where we've sent people in, we've lived in people's homes for a week, watching how people use space, the transition between sort of domestic space, personal space, and business space as necessary, and developing a computing product again that was relevant for use within the domestic environment based upon that understanding. So it's very, and it's very, very typical in the retail context. We will track customers, we'll go in and we'll secret shop, we'll watch how people shop together, what they do, how they react, and from that again be able to draw conclusions and understanding that will inform our design. That's clear.
It is, yeah. Great. Did you come up with